Okay, welcome to another episode of Take Up Space. Today I'm sitting down with Janani Srikanth. Janani Srikanth has a master's in public health. She's strongly passionate about examining health and wellness through the lens of intersectional feminism, cultural humility, and evidence-based practice. Her career focuses in maternal and infant health with a desire to address racial and ethnic disparities through community-based policy. And in her private life, she's outspoken about empowerment within diversity and is a huge advocate for destigmatizing mental health and therapy in South Asian systems. Welcome, Janu. Yeah. Finally.
Hi.
Do you want to talk about Cleo?
Yes, of course. So not included in this wonderful bio. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you.
Is that we have, my husband and I have a wonderful one-eyed orange cat.
Super cute cat.
Yeah, named Cleo. She's like the love of our lives. And my husband just happens to also be Vikash, who's your co-host, guest host. Yeah, guest hosted and stuff.
Behind the scenes dude is what I have him called in the Instagram bio.
And that's what he calls himself at home. Behind the scenes guy. So I'm actually a nepotism hire. That's the reason I'm here. No, I'm playing.
We appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, you've done so much therapy, like you said. You could basically have like a master's in therapy as a client,
Very
right?
much so.
Like years and years of it. You said 2017.
I have so much professional experience having mental illness.
Okay, but I was telling you off camera that it's rare that people are willing that, like, so usually we have the mental health professionals come on here, but it's really rare that someone is just willing to come and talk about their healing journey from a more like vulnerable and intimate lens. Yeah. So I think it's super courageous and badass that you're like, I'm here and I'm willing to talk about it, because it's going to be so helpful for people who might not have the words or might be going through the same thing and just not know. And yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. I appreciate you for doing this.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
I respect you for doing this.
No, I mean, I was genuinely surprised when y'all asked me to come on, because I was like, what do you even want me to talk about? But then
you have so much to talk about.
Listen, professional yapper is definitely in the credentials. Yeah. But I think you're very right. I think like hearing from the client side perspective is, especially in the South Asian diaspora, is not something maybe as commonly seen. And so definitely my intention is to kind of just shed a light on what that experience is like.
Yeah.
You ready?
You
ready to jump in? You ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it. Okay.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. So one thing we know about South Asians is the interesting thing, I guess, is that a lot of people talk about how their parents either want them to be doctors, engineers, or what's the other one? Lawyers?
Typically.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer, some combo of the three.
Yeah, therapists don't make it up there. Like, whatever. There's really little room for flexibility. And a lot of people just kind of feel that pressure and ride that wave and actually do that, whether it's because their parents are maybe actually pressuring them, or that becomes their schema as like what it means to be successful and what that looks like, right? Yeah. So what's interesting for you when we first talked was like that wasn't something that was pressured for you, but you were in med school fully by choice, by passion. And during your experience, you shared with me that you were diagnosed with Ptsd, right? And when you needed, I guess, like accommodations and support from the system or the med school, those weren't met. And I'm curious, just to start there, if like you could describe what it felt like when that was the case and what that process was like. And also it's cool that you really wanted to be a doctor by choice.
Yeah, of course. Medicine was something that I always like felt pulled to, even from like a very young age. And so when we kind of talked beforehand about, what we're going to talk about today, there was a very real moment I had where I thought to myself, do I actually want to address this? Do I actually want to talk about this today? Because me dropping out of med school was one of the most difficult decisions that I've ever had to make, because turning my back on something that I loved with all of my heart and soul, the thing that literally gives me wings, was it really is like walking away from, your first love and saying like, okay, there's no turning back at this point.
Yeah, that must have been so hard. Yeah.
Oh, it was unimaginable. And So I think that kind of provides some context as to the level of what I had kind of endured and experienced for me to, in order for me to make that decision. Because I think something that, especially, I feel like South Asians often struggle with the concept of sunk cost fallacy, whether it's in relationships, career, community-based
you mean like if I've invested this much time,
exactly,
I have to keep going. 100%. That's so true. Yeah.
No, yeah. Thank you for like kind of defining that. Exactly. The sunk cost fallacy of like, I've put in this much time and effort, I might as well see it all the way through without realizing that in its core, it's a fallacy.
Right.
And add to that, add to the mix, this feeling that I had truly found the thing that, made me want to get up in the morning and excited
which is so hard to find for some.
Some people go their whole lives without finding their passion. And I really felt that I was somebody that was uniquely suited for the profession. I felt like I was tailor-made to kind of, enter like a healing space with, the combination of kind of interpersonal kind of skills, but also a very, clean science background as well. So the marriage of those two things in medicine and the desire to kind of I also already had a strong interest in public health and addressing disparities. So bringing that social lens into things was already something that was super important to me.
Everything felt so aligned.
Everything felt like it synergized really, really well. And so I really felt like, I cannot wait for the rest of my life to be a doctor and just, change so many systems, kind of one by one by healing people one at a time.
Right.
And so I've been working through this in therapy and I'm still very actively working through this. The grief that I have felt and carried as a result of having to leave med school has been unimaginable, truly, because it's one thing to, like experience like the loss of a loved one. It feels a little more finite.
Right.
Whereas like walking away from like a career that, and, from the outside looking in, people might say, well, you could have pushed a little harder. Like, I feel like maybe you could have tried a little more. There's always this kind of nebulousness surrounding it, feeling of like, well, could I have?
Yeah.
Whereas like other types of, grief and loss sometimes feel a little more like permanent.
Yeah.
This felt like it, was so like ongoing and,
forever,
may not be
kind of like a part of your resume, if you will, that this happened to you and that you made this decision, right?
And so, all that to just kind of give a little bit of like the kind of...
It was hard.
It was hard. In 3 words.
It still is hard.
And it still is really hard. And so me even talking about it today was like a decision that on my drive over, I was like, do I talk about this? But then I was like, yeah, I think I have to, because not only is it an integral part of like my story, I think it's an integral part of kind of the South Asian experience to see how generational trauma can sometimes like accumulate to this kind of stress pressure point where it can really implode on itself in what can be the most inopportune times in your life.
Right.
And that's essentially what happened. Right. So, in 2020, that's when I started med school. Yeah. And the kind of irony of all of this is that I was no stranger to mental illness even before this, or mental health conditions. I was diagnosed with, I had struggled with depression in my teenage years, didn't really have a word for it because it wasn't something that, we
talked about. Yeah,
exactly. I couldn't affix a label to it, but looking back now, I know that's what it was.
Sure.
Then I kind of had a resurgence of it in college, and that's when I decided to get help. So 2017, I think I was severely struggling with suicidal ideation, severely struggling with self-harm issues.
This is before med school.
This is before med school, yes. Yeah. So I was in my junior year of college. Things got so bad that one night I basically, I don't know if this is like deep and a little dark. So, if we need to put the trigger warnings up and all that, we can. Yeah. So there was a night where I did come very close to suicide. Yeah. And had kind of planned an attempt, and it was a very like haphazard kind of thing. And then, I, got down from the chair and I was like, I think I need to call the suicide hotline.
Yeah.
So then I called the suicide hotline.
Okay.
I talked to them for like 3-4 hours. They literally talked me off a ledge.
Yeah, de-escalated.
It. And then I was like, okay, I gotta, sign up for therapy. Thankfully, our university provided therapy free of cost. So
at this time, the way you're describing, you're starting from this point, all of these kind of symptoms that were appearing, depression, active suicide ideation,
yes,
in this moment, it sounds like at the time there wasn't a lot of awareness as to what was going on, but you knew you needed help.
I knew I needed help, but I wasn't exactly sure what the kind of root cause of some of this was, but I could tell that it was depression. I could tell that it was suicidal ideation because I was a neuroscience major.
Okay. You were like, I know this much.
I kind of know intellectually I have the kind of knowledge of it. But then I also have the kind of like experience of illnesses on top of it. So I went to the school psychiatrist and I went to the school's therapist. And by the way, a lot of four-year institutions, a lot of universities and colleges have free therapy.
Yeah.
Use the free therapy.
Yes.
Use it as a tool because it's, like, please, because I know a lot of people have this feeling of like, well, what am I going to tell my parents? Like, I'm on my parents' insurance. Like, I don't want to go to therapy and then have it show up on there.
Yeah.
Use the tools that are available to you. Use the free resources that are available to you. So that's my like mini like PSA for that.
Perfect.
So, went to therapy. I started antidepressants. I'm intentionally talking about that because I know there is also a stigma about medications.
Sure. Yeah.
But I started SSRIs.
Okay.
They worked wonders.
Wonders.
Beautiful.
What did you notice?
6 weeks later, I was a whole new person. I was like, I'm feeling good. Like,
What was the shift for you? Was it fully was it that in combination with the therapy?
Yes.
Was it that alone? Okay. It was both.
It was that in combination with therapy. So starting to kind of untangle some of my, I think my therapist realized that, he was a very nice guy, but it was a white guy. And I, was talking about, things that had happened at home. And I think I could tell that he was like, girl, I'm way out of my depth on this. And my psychiatrist was, really incredible and really kind of like helped me talk through some of my fears about medication. Because one of my biggest fears that had come from my parents as well was this fear that I would gain weight on the meds. And the thing is, I had lost so much weight from depression that I was literally like, two-dimensional. And so my psychiatrist very frankly told me, he said, so I'd rather you be like fat and alive than skinny and dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's real as fuck.
That's so real.
Like, that's so real. Yeah. And I was like, and that I needed to hear that to dismantle this idea that like the worst thing that can happen to me is not gaining weight. The worst thing that can happen to me is me killing myself. Yeah. And that was like a reality check of like, because I was in his office crying, saying like, I don't know, can you switch me on different meds that aren't going to make me gain weight? And he was like, you're gaining weight because you're eating again. And then I was like, okay. So, a lot of just kind of like, a lot of that initial kind of dismantling of misconceptions and kind of that initial time in therapy is just a very like raw one where you're just learning a lot.
Right.
And so that was super, super helpful for me. I continued therapy until I graduated college in 2019. And then I continued, I think I continued briefly with like an independent therapist, but by that time, things were kind of okay.
Okay.
And
so the medication and therapy together helped you, and you were getting to the roots and deconstructing.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I had stopped self-harming, which had become almost like an addiction at a certain point for me because of the release of kind of like, endorphins and whatever that come along with it sometimes. Sure. And so it was a very difficult like addiction to break for me, but I broke it. I was not self-harming. It was great. It was grand. And then in, 2019, like May, I broke up with my abusive ex-boyfriend. So it's all
life is looking up and up 2017 on.
Life is okay. We're in a good spot.
Space.
Yeah, we're in a good spot. Like I had been dating my ex for that whole like period of time. So it was like a lot of
that probably played a factor in how everything was showing up.
100%, but still, you know, nevertheless, she persisted.
She did. She is here today.
So 2019, you know, I'm freshly single. I'm like therapized, medicated, baddie with a body. My hair looks, you know, okay. I've graduated. You know, things are all coming up, Janu, okay? I meet my wonderful partner, Vikash, later that year.
Woo!
And I'm applying for med school.
Yeah.
I get into med school.
So exciting.
Woo!
I love where this is going. I know where it's going. But
you know where it's going. Listen, my villain arc hasn't even started, girl. So 2020 rolls around. We're in full panorama city. We're in full pandemic, full swing.
Yeah.
So, but I get into med school. I move to Fort Worth. I leave my parents. I stop living with my parents. I leave. It's the best I've ever been, she thought. And then, you know, hits me like a ton of bricks because, you know, we're remote learning, first year of med school.
Oh, that's so different.
Yeah, your doctor is in Zoom school.
Yeah. How does that even work?
Girl.
Like,
don't ask. Okay. It was bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not good. I was not learning. I was not getting the resources. And then, you know, end of July, you know, early August rolls around and PTSD, who is she? She hits me like a ton of bricks.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. It literally rolls up, hits me with a left hook out of nowhere. And out of nowhere, nightmares every single night to the point where I am unable to distinguish like reality from fiction.
Wow.
Just starting to dissociate when I am awake.
Okay.
I am now like binge eating basically all my problems. Even in my waking hours, I have such a level of hypervigilance that I am unable to I'm unable to sleep in my own bed because memories of what I had gone through with my ex are literally tormenting me day and night to the point where I can feel him in my bed. Wow. That is how strong, you know, the PTSD came around. And I am feeling so bitter and so angry because I'm like, I did everything right. Yeah. I took care of my depression.
You did.
I did the damn thing. I went to therapy. I medicated. My SSRIs are like, bitch, we're out. Like, because we're no match for, you know, Miss PTSD. Like, she's a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
Essentially, Farah, like, all the safeguards that I had put up were failing me. Everything started crumbling away. But I was like, you know what? We're no stranger to mental health crises. Let me reach out for support. Let me see what can be done.
Still persisting.
Still, you got to.
You got to. Yeah.
I reached out to Chetna, which is a DV organization here in Dallas, specific to South Asian people, at the recommendation of Vikash, who at the time was working at Daya Houston. He was like, they should have free resources. Reach out to them. You are essentially a survivor of DV and interpersonal violence because of what you went through with your ex and some kind of, you know, previous history of stuff back at home in childhood and previous times. Talked to them. They hooked me up with not one, but two therapists. And both therapists were phenomenal. But
you saw both at the same time.
I had therapy twice a week.
Okay.
Because my symptoms were that bad.
Were they specializing in different things?
Yes.
In different aspects of it? Okay.
Yes. One person was kind of looking more at the sexual assault type of things, which was like kind of really some like really tough symptoms that I was dealing with. And the other person was dealing with more of like the childhood trauma that I had experienced that may be essentially contributing.
Do you recommend this 2 times a week in this moment? Was it helpful?
I think at that time it was what I needed to like stay alive.
Okay.
And so
like the next step would be like inpatient. If
the next step would have been probably inpatient if I had kind of continued kind of going down that path where it was, but at the time it was like, these are the options that feel available to me while being a full-time medical student.
Yeah. Oh, like that is just so much at once.
I start failing all my tests. And even before that, I'm reaching out to the administration saying, hey, so I was just diagnosed with PTSD officially. I don't sleep at night. I'm literally not sleeping at night.
Yeah.
Like I am.
How are you supposed to function?
How am I going to wake up for class? How am I going to learn?
Yeah.
My brain cannot retain any information at all because it is so. It feels like my brain has just been flooded with like all of the trauma that it's been suppressing.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you're just trying to survive literally minute by minute. When you went to them, you said all this in its clarity. Yeah.
Yes, I was very clear in saying, I have been diagnosed with PTSD. Here are the, here's the paperwork and here's my name on it.
Yeah.
And I said the steps that I'm taking in order to mitigate, whatever risks are associated with it. And I said, I really need academic help.
Right.
Because this is the area that I'm really struggling in. I'm struggling to learn. Can I get extended deadlines for my exams? Because I cannot.
Yes. She can.
Thank you. It's decided.
Yeah. I can't believe it. This makes me very angry listening to it. And I have a client who, anonymous client who is experiencing depression, is in school, and this isn't med school and this isn't at the level you're talking about, but similar thing, like even asking for all those accommodations was like an entire process. And then them actually respecting it and honoring it moment by moment was a different thing. Like, it's almost like you have to keep re-explaining that you're just trying to survive. And that's it, period.
Very much so. Yeah. And that in itself becomes almost traumatizing because, especially invisible illnesses are so difficult to advocate for at times because people don't see the real life impact. And I'm like, I don't know how to explain to this professor that I'm waking up at 3 a.m. every night thinking that my ex is in my bed and that he's assaulting me once again. I haven't slept in my bed for 6 months. I've been sleeping on the couch so that I can keep an eye on the door just in case he walks in. Yeah. He's not going to walk in. He doesn't know where I live. But my brain cannot.
Doesn't know the difference. Yeah.
Exactly. My brain cannot establish safety even in the recluses of my own mind.
Right.
How do you expect me to learn?
Right.
Their recommendation was we can give you extra time on the exams. And I was like, my problem is not extra time on the exams. I need extra time to learn. Yeah. And I need tutoring. Can I take some tutoring from the professors? Yeah. It was also flipped curriculum. So they were testing out a new curriculum at this med school. Ugh. I know. Okay. Yeah. So medical education has been the same for 100 years.
But they
we should try something new in the pandemic. That's a good idea. Yeah. So they were basically doing flipped curriculum where we had to learn on our own and then teach our classmates. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not learning jack shit anyway.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to
do anything more? Yeah.
So, I struggled through that year.
So did they say no, or was it that they were like, this is all we can do, which is extended time?
Okay. This is all that we can do. We will hook you up with our in-house peer support counselors and stuff like that. And they're doing the best they can do. There's not really much they can do. They're like, we can give you some extra time on the tests. They allow me to retake I fail every single exam and have to retake every single exam, which means that I am studying for 2 exams at a time because I'm studying for my retake and then I'm also studying for the one that's the following week. So it's just a shit show. Right. I somehow crawl to the finish line of that year.
Yeah. So you went through with this for a little bit?
I finished my preclinical year. I finished the curriculum, started clinical rotations, loved OB-GYN, fell in love with it, got to deliver babies. Yeah. I felt like, oh my God, this is it. Yeah. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then, step 1 rolled around, which is one of our big board exams.
Okay.
And I tried studying for it. I couldn't. PTSD was still fully plaguing me. I decided to take a leave of absence because the school basically was like, you can go on medical leave. Those are your options. I go on medical leave for a whole semester. That whole semester, I do intensive EMDR. Twice a week, I do EMDR.
Woo! EMDR. Yes, and yes.
Because my nightmares are still every single day. I'm not. At this point, Farah, I've probably gained about 50 pounds since like 2020.
Yeah.
Because it's like
the binge eating was a part of it.
The binge
too,
eating
right?
is a part of it, but also your body needs sleep in order to
rest, recover, and rebuild. Yeah.
I take a leave of absence. I go through EMDR twice a week, 2 hours per session. We do a lot of internal family systems work. It helps so much.
Making me smile.
Yeah. Love IFS. Love EMDR.
She listens. This is it.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the podcast.
She's a fan. I love that. So you're really getting the help that
and I'm putting
needed.
in the work too. Like I'm not saying like, okay, well, I can't do it. Like, I'm going to, hole up. I'm not going to try. I am trying. I am putting in kind of whatever I can to kind of push through this.
And that's a choice you had to make every single day.
Oh, my gosh. December of 2020 was a bad time. I almost killed myself again. I was very close. It was because I was so at a loss of what to do.
Yeah, how can you judge that? That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, it was awful. And then spring of 2023 rolls around. I re-enroll in the school to take my step 1 exam. I study for 6 months. The entire time it's all based off of the information that they taught during my first year, which I didn't really learn. All these exams I'm retaking. I ask them over and over. I say, my test scores for this big board exam, they're not going up. I need additional help. Do you have a tutor that can help me? They say, yes, we have a tutor. You can meet with them once per month.
Once
Good.
per month. Thank you so much, guys.
I might as well not even see that. You know what I mean? I fail my board exam. And after 6 months of studying for it, this is now July of 2023. My fail results comes, and my parents think I'm joking. They're like, stop playing. You passed. And I'm like, I didn't. I failed. I failed step 1. And
Can I ask how your parents, because you from the get said that they weren't ever pressuring, right? So how were they in these moments? Supportive or shocked, or were they even in the know?
They were a little bit in the know. My dad was very against taking the leave of absence. I don't think he realized the level to what the
severity of
PTSD,
what you were experiencing,
of what I was going through. They knew something was going on because I had visibly gained so much weight, and it was not like that. Gaining weight is a bad thing. It's just that it can be a sign of something else going on.
When it happens so fast, right?
When it happens so rapidly.
Yes.
And so they knew something was going on, but, when I told them I'm going to take a leave of absence, they were not supportive. They were like, what are you doing? This is crazy. So that was really hard.
It's just, I just get so because I'm thinking to myself, medical school at the very least, and I think we talked about this when we first met, which was the gaps between these types of programs and institutions and then real human problems. It blows my mind, and maybe it's my innocence that I'm just like, how could you not take into account the well-being of a human body when you're teaching someone about it and how to service that? How could you separate the two and not take into account or create an environment in which there's safety to learn and to retain and, to be able to go through the ebbs and flows of life, which for some people does incorporate a lot of trauma healing or not. But it shocks me.
It's very unfortunate, but the medical system is the most unforgiving. I think it's to its own. It's the harshest to its own. And I think... And then that pretty much marked the end of my journey with medicine because I was devastated by...
you did everything you could possibly do.
I really tried. I really, really tried. And I was devastated by the failure of step 1. And that's when I pivoted to a master's in public health because I was like, it will break me if I try to do this again. And that's when I was like, and Vikas and I had a very real conversation where he was like, this is killing you. I cannot watch you go through this. This is killing you. Ultimately, the decision is up to you. But from the outside looking in, you literally have done everything that you can. So I had to make the very difficult decision to step away. And Yeah, I have a lot of grief about it. I have a lot of bitterness and anger about it because
Of
it's like,
course, yeah.
it feels like, you know, I had worked so hard for all of this and then for it all to come crashing down in an instant.
Yeah.
Because of what felt like a perfect storm
Yeah.
of kind of the trauma setting. Like, it was like, as soon as my body felt like it was safe because I had moved out, I was living by myself.
Right.
As soon as my body could relax, it was like, now you need to deal with all the shit that you've been suppressing for the last 24 years.
Yeah.
So,
girl, breathe, because that was the first question, and we're at the end of the hour.
I know, we're literally at the end of the hour. I'm so sorry.
No, I love that you're saying this for like one reason is like, from the get, you talked about the sunk costs, right? Fallacy.
Yeah.
It's a fallacy, guys. But the point is, like, a lot of people hearing this, I think so many people could probably relate to the, I guess, the pressure and the speed of medical school, period. Yes. Like, that alone, like, is traumatizing.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I think, too, like, and so to be a person who can sit there, see this, and say that that's my passion, I really want that, but I am going to choose myself in a different way, which is not necessarily my passion or desire in this moment, but my health and my survival and my vitality.
Yeah.
That decision that you're talking about is so hard. It makes sense that there's so much grief associated to that. But if you could speak to, like, what did it bring you in terms of to be able to recover wholly as a human being after making that decision, and like the way you're like choosing to do your career now?
You mean like stepping away from medicine?
Yeah.
So,
like, it comes with the grief, right? 100%. But I'd imagine there is a sense of relief. Like, I'd like to hear.
It's a really good question. And I am actually glad you asked this question, because I think so often we kind of fall into, this is just my perspective, right? I think so often we fall into this trap of like, everything has to be for a reason.
Yeah.
And that my trauma needs to have meaning. Otherwise, my pain that I've experienced is not worthwhile. And I can, like, at this point in time, maybe in 10 years looking back, maybe I'll feel differently. But at this point in time, this is something that I've talked about in therapy as well. Yeah. I cannot see a good reason for why I have gone through that. And I cannot feel that anything positive has really come out of it. It really isn't in its entirety like a nightmare, no pun intended. And I think accepting that for me and not trying to
make meaning.
Yes, not trying to make meaning, but even beyond that, not trying to make positive meaning out of it is actually something that's been really important for me, because you know, for some people, I understand that trauma can be like a significant life teacher, but it doesn't have to be. And I think this is something I feel like we see often, especially in POC communities, in people of people of color, especially South Asians, where as a people we have experienced the significance of colonialism in our generational trauma. Makes it such that in order to survive, we have had to create meaning around our pain.
Right.
If that makes sense, right? A tragedy cannot just be a tragedy for us, because the weight of that pain would crush us. Yeah. So in order to survive, we as a people have found meaning in grief, and we use stories and music and the oral tradition in order to kind of cope up with, like, oh, well, you know, all this is for a good reason. You know, this has made me stronger. I'm made of titanium. And and I think that makes a lot of sense for what the history of our people has been. And taking it a step further, deconstructing kind of that generational trauma, I think that it might be time for us to face the fact that what has happened to us as a people, what has happened to us as individuals, may just be bad, and that's it, and that's okay. And it just is a tragedy, and it just is bad luck. And I think sometimes facing that for people feels very hopeless.
Right. Because there's no like momentum there. There's no movement there. There's no forward there. But for you, accepting it,
it feels very freeing, because I'm like, I'm not even going to try to defend the universe for that happening. Right? I don't know.
Such a good point.
Like, I don't know the machinations. We don't know the machinations of the universe. Like 4.3 billion years, the universe has been around. Who am I but a speck? How could I know? But I do know that my pain is real. My trauma is real. The tragedies that we have experienced are real. And maybe they're just that.
That's such a good point. You're right. Like, for a lot of people, it takes them to this like thriving place where now suddenly they've created books out of things and stories and music and whatever it might be. But it always seems like that aspect that closes the loop. But what you're talking about is so special, because I don't think it's ever been said, is accepting that maybe there was no point, and maybe it is just as tragic as it is, and to let that weight land.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, to your point, the people who, create incredible productivity, maybe after said experiences, writing books,
the
making
pain becomes art.
Making art, making podcasts, spreading that. I almost, I have kind of like, a counter suggestion. What if that was in you all along? What if that was there all along? What if you didn't need the trauma to necessarily unlock it? What if a positive thing could have unlocked it? I
love that. And I mean, it's really making my brain twist and turn.
I don't know.
I love it.
I don't know. I've come to after many, many years of going through therapy, of like, some things cannot be justified, and the universe is not one that, is often reasonable or a force to be reckoned with it. So why do it? It's like, I'm just going to live my life and it's going to be great. Like,
And I don't think for me, it's like, oh, I'm justifying what happened. Like, there's no justification
100%
at all for a lot of things.
Yes.
But it's more like those things led me to point B, C, and D, which might be of value and productive and helpful to the collective and the community. So there's a sense of meaning in that.
Absolutely.
But does it justify or dismiss or deny health?
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying is, the part that I love is just like accepting that. Because for some people, it doesn't go that way. Like, it doesn't actually materialize into anything.
Exactly.
I have clients that are just kind of like hopeless, period. And that's the end, period.
And it's like, here I am living despite it all, not because of it all. Like, here I am, a beautiful, wonderful person, despite it all. Not because the trauma. I was not forged in trauma and pain. I was forged in the love of, of and light of myself and my community. It's not the tragedy that was kind of bore this personality. And this is just, like I said, maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's just my opinion. But that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I think
and I understand when people have different ways of reckoning with it. So
I love that.
Thanks for letting me yap.
Yap. Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to ask you about your EMDR experience, your IFS experience, your take on therapists that are more culturally responsive versus not, the white dude versus whomever else you interacted with. But we are out of time, Janu. Can I ask you some of my rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear your answers.
Okay, let's go.
Since you dropped the bomb, like the last thing you said, I loved it. Okay. So what is one societal message that you picked up indirectly or directly that you're now like, I'm opting out, I'm done with this?
Two things come to mind.
Okay.
First one is that we, in this digital age, have to be available all the time. I can't do it. I can't do it. You're not getting a text back. I'm sorry. Like a week later, maybe. But we're constantly available to each other all the time. And I think that results in people feeling entitled to each other's energy. And I really struggle with that.
I love it.
I really opt out because I work much better in kind of physical spaces. Digital communication, it's just not for me, I think.
Unless it's pictures of Cleo.
Unless it's pictures of, exactly.
Because I got some and I just met you.
That's for everyone.
That's for everyone.
No paywall.
I love it.
Number two, I'm coming in hot on this, but sorry to say this.
Do it, Janu. You've done it. Let's go.
Like, hyping up men for like just doing the like bare minimum of like keeping house in South Asian communities is bogus.
Can you give me an example?
For example, like, when people are like, oh my God, your husband like does the dishes, and it's like, like he wants to eat, right? So like he should. Like, what do you mean? It's like he keeps house because it's also his home.
House,
and it's kind of ridiculous because it's like, am I getting credit for, being a household manager? No. So what's the, it's like, that's the bare minimum.
Absolutely.
That's the bar. It's like, that's the normal. We should not be praising people for like taking care of their own space.
Themselves and their space. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Like, that should be your standard for men. And like,
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not a hot take. It's a real take.
It's a real take.
Say it louder for the people in the back. Okay, last one. What's one funny piece of advice, funny, weird, quirky, whatever, about mental health that you've received that like sticks with you today? So much so that you're going to say it right now.
Oh, funny?
Whatever.
Funny? I mean, honestly, like drink more water. Like, I think people.
Who said that?
I don't know. Like,
I mean, well, not no names, but like,
I think
drink
like
more
family
water
and stuff. Okay. Like, sometimes they'll be like,
eat almonds.
Yeah,
like
no,
that
literally,
kind of vibe?
literally, my mom would be like, eat some nuts. Like, it's good for you. And it's like that's not the. But I'm also like, is it? Like, am I a little
like,
deficient in like those vitamins?
The nuts, yeah.
I'm like stuffing almonds in my face. I'm like, maybe this will cure me.
That's so real.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
but yeah,
so
like
real.
drink, like, go take a walk. Like, which is all like, it's all good advice, but it's not the
just
end
really
all
hit
be
the,
all.
hit the
It's
target.
like also good. Like go on a walk and then also sign up for therapy.
Also like, or SSRIs, like whatever is needed.
No, exactly.
Full support here.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Do you have anything that you felt like you really wanted to say today and we didn't get to that you want to like PSA all over the place? Because this is the time.
I don't know. Like, fuck ICE, free Palestine. Sorry, that's it. I think. Honestly,
she's like, that's really all we really need to say today. Period.
Vote in the next elections. Yeah.
Boom. I love you so much.
Thank you for having me.